Greetings again, friends, family, fans, and God, whoever else is watching my channel right now. I thought I'd do something totally weird. If you understand anything about Power Grid, you'll get what I'm doing is essentially a twisted joke taken too far. Yeah, so when I picked up the robots expansion a while ago, I finally got to play with robots recently. I believe I mentioned that in a previous video. That it did something, the robot we built did something really weird to our game, which was really cool. It didn't play exactly like a logically attempting to win player would, but it was really cool the things it would do to kind of mess with gameplay. So I understand that you're not supposed to play robots as a solitaire game, though there are some who have tried. It's just that it's too easy, because you can easily learn to manipulate the robots against each other, or even, so they're not meant to challenge and actually necessarily win the game per se, but they're good for taking multiplayer games and adding an additional level of challenge to it that wouldn't normally be there, because they basically do the same things that other players would do, messing with the game state, right? So I thought to myself, so I can't play a one-player game with robots, but if I build enough of them, could I play a zero-player game with robots? Warning, the following playthrough is absolutely stupid, but it just might be funny, so your discretion is advised. Playing the color red, Mighty Morphin Megazord, that's right. His first city is going to be chosen at random. Actually, that's going to be true of all the robots, since there won't be any human players to make the decisions that are generally required by the other first city choices. So, as with the rules for robots expansion, that means randomize whenever necessary. Phase 2, he's going to buy the first chosen power plant for a minimum bid. Of course, if he's the one that has to choose, then it's going to get chosen randomly. So whenever somebody else wants a power plant, at least the first person that wants a power plant is just going to straight out buy it. So, yeah. Phase 3, he buy enough resources for normal production, and he's going to buy up as much of the least available resources he can to muck up the market. In Phase 4, he's going to buy as many cities as he can, but he's never going to buy more than the first player, so he doesn't want to shoot out into the lead. And he'll begin the game with $100. Surely that'll be a useful advantage, right? And in this corner, playing the color of blue, we have Optimus Prime. He's going to buy the power plant with the highest number, at least that's the one he's going to select a bid, and his maximum bid will be up to the minimum bid for the power plant plus the number of cities that Optimus owns at the time. During Phase 3, he's going to try to buy all the resources he can if he's in last place, which, by the way, look at his special ability. He's always going to be last in the player order, so therefore he's always going to buy up all the resources that he can possibly take off the marketplace. In Phase 4, he's going to buy 1 city in Step 1, 2 in Step 2, 3 in Step 3. And in this corner, we have RoboCop playing the color of purple, kind of like the titanium laminates on his armor. Anyways, he's going to buy the power plant that uses the cheapest resources whenever he has a chance to put one up for bid. At most, he'll ever bid at the minimum bid plus 5 electro, so watch out for that. During Phase 3, he's going to buy resources according to a normal production, and he'll try to buy up any other resource that costs less than 5 electro. In Phase 4, he's just going to buy as many cities as he can afford, and his special ability is he's going to pay half the bid for power plants. So whenever he wins a power plant, he ends up only actually paying half of what he said he'd pay for it. So that should save him a lot of money over the course of the game. And last but most certainly not least, because your throat needs a hug, is the man who is definitely more machine now than man, hence I'm going to call him a robot anyways, Darth Vader. That's right. He's always going to bid on the second smallest numbered power plant when possible, and his maximum bid, however, he will never raise, staying at the minimum bid. He'll buy only resources for a normal production, he'll only buy cities he can supply for, and he always builds his first city for a cost of nothing besides the connection fee. So, he's going to be a very minimalistic strategy Darth Vader here, so very much into the efficiency that one would expect of the Empire. Keeping track of 4 automated robots is really difficult to do. It's really taxing on the old brain resources. So that said, I'm going to make a few mistakes here and there in the video. Do note that any of the important ones, the game-breaking ones, I actually fix in time. So you'll see a few things and be like, what is this guy doing? No, you'll understand now. You try doing this. You'll miss a lot more than I did. Feel free to drop a hit in the comment box if I missed anything important. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I got everything. I had to do a few do-overs, but those are takes on the video. So what you should see here is as accurate as I can make it. Give or take a few things, I had to do a few go-backs. So how's about we stop gilding that lily and get this party started? Yeah! The locked out territories have already been set up and chosen, at random of course, and I did randomly choose the starting locations, but I will dig more into detail about those locations when it gets into the actual first turn's location buying phase. And we have our power plant set up, and we are ready to launch this fight. The first power plant he's going to select to put up for bid will be the one using the cheapest resources to power it. Breaking the tie here, that's going to be number 5. One problem with that, however, is that Megazord over here has a special ability, specifically that he just takes whatever the first power plant that was put up for bid by anyone and then pays for it. So there's not even going to be an auction for poor RoboCop. He's going to have to try again. RoboCop now wants number 4. Friedemann Friese's favorite opening power plant anyways. So he bids it for 4. Lord Vader also wants it because it is the second cheapest, second smallest number. But the problem is he won't bid on it because he won't bid higher than the minimum bid. Therefore, RoboCop is going to run away with it for $4. If a human player ever did that, I would quit. That said, let's replace these power plants right quick. Brings number 17 into play, apparently. And then Lord Vader is going to bid on the second smallest plant available, which is number 6 here. Doesn't look like anybody else is going to want it because it doesn't have the highest number, so Prime doesn't want it. So he's going to pay $6 for it and get it at cost. So, once again, fixing the power plants. Well, number 9 is the highest numbered plant, and that's the one that Prime wants to bid on just because it's the highest numbered plant. So, he's going to fork over $9, and it's all his at cost. So now I have to unrandomize the turn order according to the power plants. That would put Prime right up first, except that according to his special ability, he always lasts in the turn order. Which actually I forgot a few other special abilities here too. I owe RoboCop a couple of dollars because he was only supposed to pay half for his power plant. And Vader's hasn't come into play yet, so we're good to go. So Prime is going to buy resources. And here's a funny thing. Since he has the ability that says he's always last, and his resource buy says he buys all the resources he can if he's last, otherwise he buys normal, this is going to be a messed up game. Fortunately, he can only buy 2 oil. So at $6, he is going to start the ruination of the oil market 1 drop at a time. Whereas RoboCop here says he wants to buy for normal production, and then he'll buy any resources he can afford as long as they're less than 5 electros each, and of course he has the money. So that means all he can store is 1, 2, 3, 5, but he's going to spend $5 total to fill up all the coal he can buy. Megazord here says he'll buy the normal production and whatever is the least available resource. So normal production, we do that at normal cost, which is going to be $4. But then since he has that plant that can use either resource, he's going to spend on more of this oil and help Optimus Prime destroy the oil market. Wow, real world visions much? So that was $4, $7, $11 total spent on his resources. But I mean, since he started with $100, who cares, right? Lastly, Vader only cares about efficiency and buying for normal production. So he's going to pick up this garbage here for $6 and he's going to call it good. Prime builds first. However, he only builds one city while he's in step 1, 2 in step 2, and 3 in step 3. We did randomly determine that Prime was going to begin in Memphis, and he's going to work over next door to, he's going to buy just that one city and call it good. So, $10 off of Prime. RoboCop, however, in a ballsy effort, decides to start in Oklahoma City. And according to RoboCop's robot, he's going to buy all the cities money could possibly buy. So that being said, he's going to work his way towards the cheapest connections when possible. He's going to pick up Dallas, and he's going to pick up Houston, Texas, which is going to cost him a grand total of $38, leaving him with not a heck of a lot left. He'll have $5 remaining. Vader, however, will only buy cities he can supply. He can only supply one, therefore he's only going to buy his starting city this turn. And worse, he's got a special bid. It says he doesn't have to pay for the first city. It's builds first city for 0 electro. So that means he's getting off without spending a dime for showing up in Detroit. By the way, that's my old hometown there. Oh, I should have done this one beforehand too. So immediately before Vader appears in Detroit, we randomly decided that the Megazord would start in Denver. However, his ability says that he's going to buy all the cities he can, but never more than the first player, the lead player, that being RoboCop at 3. That means he's going to go into Cheyenne and Billings for a grand total of $39. During the bureaucracy phase, everyone's going to burn for one city. Thus, Vader is going to end the turn with $60. Mighty Morphin Megazord with $67. Our boy Murphy RoboCop here will end up with $27. And of course, Optimus with $47. Yoink! I've already taken the liberty of filling up raw materials. However, we are short a couple of coal. Gee whiz, I wonder why, guys. People are hoarding stuff already. This had to go away because people here have 3 cities already, thus setting us up to put 50 on the end. Whew. That's not going to stay for very long. And now we actually have to do the end of turn thing, where we take the lowest one and send it away for phase 3, thus pulling out number 34. So on that note, we have our new and improved turn order, and we are ready to begin round 2. Since Megazord is going first this time, he has to randomly decide on the power plant to bid on, since he just buys the first one picked by somebody. He's not really built to pick it himself, so he's going to pull out number 7 for $7 with no auction held. RoboCop wants the one with the cheapest resources, and you can't get cheaper than free now that number 13 has come up. However, Optimus Prime also wants it because it has the highest number right now, and he's willing to bid +1 because he has one city. So Optimus bids 14, but Robo is willing to go up to +5, so he says 15 and it's mine. No one else counterbids. 15 paid. But don't forget, Robo only pays half. Good Lord. I'll eventually remember that the first time. So Vader says to himself, I want the power plant with the second smallest number, please. So he goes on number 10, and his only competition specifically wants the plant that has the highest number, so he's not even going to touch it. Vader gets away with plant number 10 at cost for $10. But then Optimus Prime is uncontested when power plant number 22 comes out to replace the hole and says, you know what, I'll have that because it has the highest number for 1022, and it's a great way to power 2 cities. So Prime can't fit more than 1 oil on that thing, so he's going to drop $3 for 1 oil. I'll get his change to him off camera. Vader, however, wants a trash and 2 coal. So we're going to get him a trash and 2 coal for normal production. It's going to cost him $5, $7, and $9. Looks like his account's going to be good for it. RoboCop says, as long as it costs me less than $5, fill me up. And it actually $5. Yeah, less than 5. So he's only going to buy one more coal since 2 would be 5, but 1 is just 2. And the Mighty Morphin Power Gridders want to buy for the least available resource just to hurt the market. So, how much can we get over there? Good Lord, we could fit 6, 7, 8 oil on these monkeys. So, 3, 7, 11, 15, 30, 36. Holy cow. And the thing is, they're good for it. So Prime says, build me a city into my cheapest connection. So then I take $16, and I said Prime has one city over here in Birmingham, and that's where we are. Then Vader said, build me as many cities as I can supply, which is 3. So we'll go to the cheapest connections, because that's how we break ties. And we already pre-randomized to make sure you go south into Knoxville instead of over into Pittsburgh. So that's going to cost him exactly $30 to get those 2 locations. RoboCop wants to build as many cities as he can, but he can't connect to anything for $17. That's all he's got. So we're done with him. Which also means we're done with Megazord, because he won't pass RoboCop. So that means we're starting to cluster over here on 3, with Optimus Prime not too far behind it too. So Megazord burns for 3, earning him $44, bringing him up to 68. RoboCop burns for 2 cities, thus making $33, bringing him up to 30, 43, 50. Yeah, 50. Vader also burns for 3, bringing him $44, which brings him total of 55 at the end of his turn. And Optimus Prime earns $33 with his super breath. Haha. I should mention that means he's got 39 now. Refill the market. Handle power plants. And if I ever get this up. 27. And that is the end of round 2. So let me just rearrange the turn order here right quick, and we will be ready to begin round 3. RoboCop wants the one with the cheapest resources, which is a really awesome number 25. But as soon as he puts it up for bid, you'll never guess what happens. Cha-ching! That's right. Megazord, no auction. Thus, RoboCop figures he's going to have to just take number 8. Cheapest for resources, of course. And that being the smallest plant, nobody else is really interested in it. So at least the good news is he'll get at cost. He won't pay much for it. $8. Oh, if only we'd stop that too. It's supposed to cost him half. $4 for a power plant. Suddenly it's a lot better. Vader is next. He's going to take number 17, the second smallest number, and he's just going to grab that at cost. That's right. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. And thus Prime gets to maintain his foothold, his iron grip, pun intended, over the Wind Empire because the highest numbered plant is this one. Prime has no room for resources, so even though he goes first, he's not going to buy any. But Megazord over here is going to go absolutely hog wild with those go crazy buy stuff rules, because he's going to end up spending $34 so that he can grab all of these and put them there. And then he's going to grab all of this stuff over here. Oh my word, he's just being crazy, that crackpot. And it's going to fill everything he's got absolutely nuts to the brim. And he's going to go broke. Vader doesn't care. He's going to be spending $5 on that. Another 5 on that. And 10 on that. For production, RoboCop only needs, 4 coal? But he's going to end up buying 5 since he can get that 5th one for under 5 electro. So that's going to be 4, 8, 12, $18. Optimus Prime would like to build his one city now, but he's made himself too broke to be able to afford it, so $12 doesn't connect to anything around Memphis and Birmingham. Megazord can't hack it either. I mean, geez, he is seriously going broke now. He's got $9 over there. Vader, however, since he supplies 5 cities, can buy up to 2 more cities to fill out his network. So let's take a look at what he can do real quick. His cheapest possible connections, I believe, are going to be Pittsburgh, and then we'll have to randomly decide if he goes to Buffalo or Chicago from there. One moment, please. Wait. Yep. Sorry, he's going to go Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C. I should have thought this out before I recorded. Give me a moment here. Because he doesn't pay for his first city, therefore, he has the connection he needs to make it to Washington, D.C. Yep, wrong. That Washington, D.C. There we go. So, he works his way up to 5. Next, of course, RoboCop spends all the money he can to grow all the cities he can, and that is only going to expand him out to either New Orleans or Kansas City. Odd, even, he's actually going to expand down into New Orleans. So there we have that. That's going to cost him $18, and that'll be all he can do. So he moves up to 4. But now RoboCop is going to make $54, thus bringing him up to 64 total, but burning quite a sum of coal there. Well, Vader, however, is making $64 here, burning all of that awesome everything he has, and I'd hope so. He spent a lot on the uranium to do that. Megazord powers his 3 cities the cheapest way he knows how to do it, and that's with a couple of these right here. And thus the $44 he earns brings him up to $53. Lastly, the leader of the Autobots does a whole lot of farting and burping into the wind to make his money off of 2 cities, which is going to give him $33, thus bringing up to 45. So, I just got to adjust the power plant deck here. Whoops. That's going to change things quite a bit. And resources are once again filled back up, thus concluding turn 3. We are now on our way to turn 4, so let's rearrange that party order, man. It's actually pretty obvious. We're going to put Vader in the lead since he has 5 cities, Robo with 4, the Power Rangers with 3, and Optimus last because he says he's last, not just because he only has 2. So, Lord Vader actually gets to lead off for a change. And he wants the second smallest power plant there, that being number 21. Problem is, RoboCop also wants it because it uses the cheapest resources available, which is the plentiful coal market. Therefore, he decides he's going to outbid and bring it up to 22. Vader, however, does not bid any higher, so that said, RoboCop is going to earn this for $22. Mind you, that as a result, he also burns away his least efficient plant, that being number 14, for his new awesomeness of 21. Some of you might be wondering why Megazord didn't just jump on that like he usually does. Well, that's because he powers too many cities with his plants compared to the cities he actually controls. And there is a rule for that. If he has 3 fewer cities than plants he controls, then he won't buy a power plant. Nobody will. Vader's next power plant is going to be number 23, and it doesn't look like Optimus Prime wants it. Therefore, Vader's going to get 23 at cost because it is the second smallest number. However, regarding efficiency, which plant is he going to give up? He's going to give up number 6 because it only powers 1, even though it's going to be kind of expensive running both of those nuclear power plants at the same time. Lastly, Prime has the same conundrum as the Megazord. He powers way too many cities compared to the number he actually owns, so he's not going to bid. Prime also doesn't buy any raw materials because where's he going to put them? He's full. However, at least Megazord has room for a few. So, since we know his logic, he likes to buy up everything he can, especially if it's least available. Well, if the only thing he's got room for is coal, that makes it the highest bidder, huh? So, he's going to drop $5 on the coal just to get it off the market. Looks like Robo's going to be spending the same way he did last turn as well. Because even though he has a different plants doing it, he's still consuming roughly the same materials. So that was a grand total cost of $12.18, right? Yeah. Yeah, and let's give this guy an extra $10 because we forgot his other ability again. So if you're trolling in the comment box or you're yelling at your screen, dude, you keep forgetting RoboCop's ability. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but at least I'm catching it before it messes up. Lastly, this is the part where Lord Vader chokes his admirals because he's about to spend a stupid wrong amount of money on resources. $10 for that coal. $10 for that there. And one more uranium for $12. He just spent $32 on resources. And finally, Optimus Prime can expand, spending $33 to expand into St. Louis and Kansas City, which is going to be an issue for poor old RoboCop to get through. Oops, take that back. It isn't Phase 2 yet. He can't buy that one. He only buys one at a time. Oh, well, let me give him back $16. Megazord, however, is willing to catch up to Darth Vader's 5 cities here, so picking up 2 for him isn't going to be any issue at all. Looks like his best options are going to be to build into Seattle and Portland for a grand total of $32, which are near where I live now, actually. I'm in the west side of Washington State. A RoboCop left with an option I almost thought he wouldn't have. Builds into Kansas City and then Omaha, costing him all but $1 that he has. And Vader, trying to get closer to the number of cities he supplies, builds into Philadelphia, of course, for the total price of $13, leaving him 2. So after a little bit of leapfrog, it looks like our turn order did change somewhat, because it now looks more like that. Well, let's not forget to pay people. He spent a fortune to do it, so Vader's going to make $73, bringing him up to $75. RoboCop lights up 4 cities as efficiently as he can, giving him $54, bringing him up to $55. The $64 the Megazord makes for lighting up 5 cities as efficiently as it can brings it up to the visible $80. Respectable. While Prime continues to make fart jokes, powering his 3, bringing him 44 and up to 72. And we're ready for the next turn. Let's make sure we flip off the bottom of the stack. And yes, we have already filled up the resource market. Please don't choke me, Lord Vader. I realize I forgot your ability as well. One moment while I calculate the difference in money and figure out what you're supposed to have. Yeah, it is a bit difficult keeping up with everything that these 4 guys do. Yes, next to Philadelphia, he would have acquired New York for the same price because paying 0 for the first city, the $10 would have gone into New York. So the only difference is, since he already burned for 7, is that he would have made an additional $9 and triggered Phase 2 of the game, being quite well in the lead. The Emperor will be pleased. Yes, you have $84 now. We're starting out the top of turn 5. I don't think I had the turn order set quite right last time, but there's no issues. That's been fixed. Anyways, the first person up to go now is Lord Vader, who is going to put up power plant number 26 for bid. And you're thinking, wouldn't that mean he buys it? But he still hasn't caught up to a place where he's allowed to bid on power plants yet. He only has 5 cities and can power 8. So that means Lord Vader is actually going to be able to manage this one for 5. Since it doesn't provide the cheapest resource, or it doesn't use the cheapest resources, RoboCop doesn't want to bid on it. And Optimus doesn't want it for a couple reasons, I'm sure. Therefore, we get rid of the least efficient plant here. And we now have for 26 bucks. That said, RoboCop wants the plant that uses the cheapest resources, which, oh, yeah, it seems like he would go for 30 if he was a human player with a brain, and that's what I'd probably do, 30 or 31, but nope. By his rules, he takes number 19. And since Optimus Prime doesn't want it, that means he's going to get rid of plant number 13. He's going to pay half price for it this time, I remembered, which means he pays a total of 10 bucks. And of course, Prime says, I have the same problem that Megazord had. I have the ability to power too much stuff based on how much I have. I'm not buying anything. Have a nice day. And after he says no to raw materials, we head over to Megazord, who is going to spend $4 to pick up a couple of coal and keep that stuff stocked silly. Sorry, $4 each, so $8 total. RoboCop buying only what he needs, and then anything that costs less than 4 or less than 5 means all he's going to do is pick up the 2 trash and the 1 coal/oil, basically coal here, to make sure he can power everything up at least once. So having his $14 spent, Lord Vader once again bites the big bullet because, geez, man, he's going to spend $10 on oil. That's $5.10. He's going to spend $12 for that. And he's going to spend $14 for that. Shnikey, $36. Oh, that's going to hurt, man. Prime's about ready to jump for joy based on the fact that he can now build 2 cities instead of just 1, since we're now in phase 2. So thus 10, 18, $28 spent. Megazord is allowed to match Vader at this point and build up to 2 more cities. Thus he'll spend $12 to get into Boise, Idaho, making $22 now. And then his next cheapest connection looks to be all the way up here at $17.27 more dollars. So let's get that filled out. Bink, hence $27, $37, $49. RoboCop's cheapest connection is going to be from Kansas City to St. Louis, going since we're in phase 2. That's $15, $21. He has 31 left, so it looks like that's going to be the end of his move. And finally, Vader is allowed to match his production of 10. However, he doesn't have the money to. So we just have to figure out what his cheapest connection is. Well, I stand corrected, since he can make Boston for free, plus $3 to move in. Then he can make Buffalo for $17. So that's a grand total of $20 spent for him to expand 2 more, which leaves him $2 left. It's not a lot. But dang, he is getting up there. 9 cities controlled. I think Vader's going to win, yes? That said, Lord Vader's going to earn himself $100 after he burns all of these in the bureaucracy phase. Or, well, he earns 98, but he had 2. You get the point, right? RoboCop burns for his 6 in the most efficient way possible, specifically meaning cheapest in resources. Thus, he earns himself $73, bringing him up to $83. Mighty Morphin Megazord is about to make $82 as well, this being the most efficient way to burn it, accordingly with those 2 plants. So now he has $105 in the bank. Damn! And Optimus once again plays the butt trombone, makes for his 5 cities 64, bringing up to $108. Oh, wow. Now, I'm still an idiot because I shorted RoboCop in the pay phase by $9 because, yeah, he doesn't have 6 cities. He had 7. But, again, at least I'm catching myself. I swear, live with my friends, I don't make these many errors. There we go, $92. That's what he should have. So they both have 7. Megazord has a more sophisticated plant, so that's going to be a thing. So with that, our market down here is restocked. All we have to do is, once again, flip it off, replacing it with something even bigger. So then to start turn 6, Lord Vader says, give me number 30. It's the second smallest, and it's badass. And then the Zord says, no, I'm allowed to have it this time. It's mine for 30. And that's all there was to it. With that, he stuffed as much oil as he could all together in the places he could keep it, losing that one, and then replaced his worst plant. That said, since it isn't particularly smaller than any of his plants, Vader sets his gaze upon number 14 as the new second smallest plant. It is, in fact, also the plant. No, it is not the plant with the cheapest resources. I'm being stupid. Nonetheless, that means Vader is going to pick this one up for 14, replacing 17, which actually will kind of help him save a little money in the resource market. So it's not so bad, but he's going to be replacing it again next turn, I bet. So then RoboCop goes, rules, man. I can power 9 and I have 7. So the rules say if I power more than 2 more than the cities I have, I can't. Yeah. So there is that, since he has 2 fewer cities than he can power. Whereas since Optimus Prime only has a gap of 1, he's allowed to improve. So he's going to take a look down here at the highest numbered plant and grab number 32, no contest with no bids. Really isn't any auctioning going on in the auction phase, is there? Damn robots. That said, when he replaces his least efficient plant, go figure, it's the one that uses oil, so he won't have to buy quite so much of that. But he's still going to buy a lot of it. As such, Prime spends $18 to fill that sucker up. RoboCop starts by spending 14 to make his production, but there's quite a bit of resource left here that costs under 5, so now we get to find out how much money he blows on it. It costs 5, yeah. So that's another $19 to positively explode, meaning he spent $33 his turn just on burnables. After Megazord here spends $15 on garbage, garbage becomes the least available resource. That means he's going to spend another $15 picking it up. So 6 trash for not 15, but 18 for the second round. So $33. Holy cow. And lastly, Lord Vader, who is only going to buy for a normal production, who's going to pick up $11 worth of oil, $12 worth of uranium, and $14 worth of trash. That's nuts. $25, $35, $39. But fortunately, he's been doing pretty well. And now, since Prime's allowed to build 2 cities, his cheapest one is obviously Duluth up there, which is going to cost him $15. And then we randomly had to decide between 21 at Fargo or 21 down here to Kansas City. And he's going to wind up taking Kansas City for $21, $31, $36 total for his spends here. RoboCop spends $43 growing as big as he can, as small as he can as well, by moving down into Memphis and then into Birmingham. Megazord's 2 cheapest are going to be into Duluth, and Minneapolis for a total of 42, which, like the answer to life, the universe, and everything, is exactly as much money as he has. And Vader's only allowed to build 1 more, so that's going to be into Chicago for $22. So Vader makes 105, bringing him up to 130 total. Megazord makes 98 as efficiently as possible, bringing him to total 98. RoboCop also has to burn for 9, making 98, but that brings him up to $110, $114 total. And Prime burning for 7 in a weird way, no longer just blowing into the wind. 82 brings him up to 104 total. So down here in the resource market, garbage is becoming a problem while uranium is healing itself, and coal is just kind of not what it... Come on, focus! Not what it used to be either. but we're getting somewhere. And we just have to fix our power plant setup, and 38 comes out. Look at this. It's almost in order right there. Ain't missing much either. So yeah, then we take a look at the turn order. Doesn't look like it's actually going to have changed at all as we go into turn 3. Or turn 7, right? So when power plants immediately go up for bid, that means Vader's in a hard way when he grabs 18 and just steps sideways again. He's not really moving forward, which means he's not going to be buying any cities to expand this turn. Megazord, much like the French and the Holy Grail, says, "We already got one." Or at least he doesn't want the ones that are out. He powers too much. So RoboCop wants number 33, and nobody else that can bid, nobody else wants to bid, so it's going to be his for 33. And he's going to dump resources like so to pick up this slight improvement to his power structure. Optimus Prime fills up on $15 worth of oil. Man, he's got a lot of money, but RoboCop reminds me that I forgot once again, so I'll give him back $16 and then buy his resources. God! Anyways, the only resource that RoboCop's allowed to buy is one garbage for $6. Megazord's going to pick up 2 coal for the normal production at $6. And then is going to fill up on the least available resource, which is, holy gods, $21 worth of garbage. Let's set that over there and charge it to the account, right? Vader says, just keep it simple, stupid. $12 worth of that and $10 worth of that, please. Making it $22 worth of stuff, thank you. For $41, Optimus Prime's 2 cities will be Fargo and Omaha. For $88, RoboCop is going to positively explode all over Cincinnati, Detroit, and then Pittsburgh and Knoxville would now Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C. Not 88, I'm sorry, $85. Megazord is about to spend like crazy just to get 2 to try to catch up to RoboCop, because everywhere else is pretty well taken up. So he's going to go 15, 22, 32, 37, 45, 55, 59 to get into there. Into New York. I'm not sure I did the math on that last number correctly, but it is $60. Lastly, Lord Vader is only allowed to buy up to cities he supplies, and that means none, because he already has 10 and he supplies 10. God, the board's getting filled up, and RoboCop looks like he's going to crack a rush to the end. Vader makes his 105, bringing him up to $195 if only he could spend it. Megazord looks like he's going to be burning for 11. Thus, he earns $112, bringing him up to a total of $123. Not bad. RoboCop burns for everything he can, making $112 as well off of 11, bringing him up to a total of $118. Prime burning at 9 earns 98, bringing him up to 125, 35, 46, $146. Not bad. So thus this is where we're at. So as we go into the next round, I switch the turn order around like so. Demonstrate that I have indeed filled up the resource market for the next turn. I simply have to do our little dance here, bringing out 29 and just mixing up the marketplace even more. Before I move on with turn 8, I thought I should point out that since somebody has broken 13, that means I need to get rid of this here number 11, or at least because someone has more than 11 out there, and we replaced that. Oh, 12, that's going to have to go away as well. Therefore, phase 3. So therefore, we're going to play the entirety of turn 8 in phase 3. There we go. I have made the appropriate adjustments to the resource market so that I've restocked for phase 3 instead of 2 or step 3 or whatever. And now we have our current market because there is no future market anymore, and that's going to create some changes in our robot behavior as we move forward. So let's do this. These two guys, however, won't be bidding on plants since they power more cities than they have by 2 at least. So RoboCop is still interested in the power plant with the cheapest resources, even though that spicy stuff is up there. He's actually going to go for 29. Vader wants it because it's the second smallest plant, but he won't bid higher than what it's worth. Therefore, it belongs to RoboCop for 29. Wait a minute. Don't you mean less than that? Yeah, we're going to give it to him for 14 bucks because, rules. That is his power. That leaves Lord Vader all by his onesie going after number 31 here. Now, that's a good power plant. So he's going to terminate number 18 and be happy that he's not only allowed to grow, he's allowed to grow a lot today for $31. As they buy raw materials, Optimus Prime says, please fill me up on everything I'm allowed to have, which is nothing but 15 bucks worth of oil. Vader, however, wants 7 bucks worth of coal. He wants 12 bucks worth of oil, and he wants what is now 8 bucks worth of uranium. Megazord, however, is going to spend $14, $20 to do that because he's going to have done $6 for that show. Yeah, $6 for that, and then the least prevalent resource. So, yeah, we have 26 bucks. Lastly, RoboCop doing everything he's allowed, which is 4, 8, 12 bucks there, and that's the best he can do. Optimus is allowed to build 3 cities today, so his 3 cheapest connection costs are into Oklahoma City, Dallas, and Houston for a grand total of 61 cred. Vader is allowed to build 4 cities now, so they can bring himself up to his production quota, and I'm pretty sure he has the money. So he's going to take the absolute cheapest routes possible, going Minneapolis, Duluth, Fargo, and we rolled dice because we couldn't figure out if he'd go Omaha next or if he'd go Chicago to Kansas City next, but he wound up picking Kansas City. Let me get that total. That's 107 bucks, which he definitely has to spare. For 83 bucks total, Megazord winds up in Omaha, Chicago, and Detroit. Back to the place I was born. Hello. Once again, we almost forgot Vader's discount. Been a while. He didn't have to pay for his first city. RoboCop, on the other hand, is about to explode from where he's at in Washington, D.C. He's going to go up into Philadelphia for 18, New York for 38, Boston for 41, 51, 56, then from Pittsburgh to Buffalo for 76, 83. That leaves him with $9 left and pushes him to 17, which means though he might not win this, and I don't think he will, he has caused the game to end this turn. So I just have to finish it and count up and find out which robot was the best. So let's move along. So for final scoring, in the bureaucracy phase, RoboCop burns for 12 cities to end the game, even though he's the one that bought up to 17 for closure. Megazord with 14 cities easily powers off all that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, he only powers 13 of them, though. But he still beats RoboCop, right? However, Lord Vader also has 14 cities, and he, in fact, powers them all. Thus meaning he's going to beat both Megazord and RoboCop here. And last is Optimus Prime, only able to power 11, coming in at dead last place. So our winner is, in fact, Darth Vader. Well, that was weird, but nonetheless, regarding that Imperial efficiency, it looks like Darth Vader had the superior programming to get us through the day. Of course, if the robots had been built differently, then it would have been a whole different game. Kind of interesting, kind of like watching horse races. You're never quite sure who's going to win that one. Still wasn't a horrible fight for those not being human brains in control of what was going on there. Obviously, like the manual for the expansion suggests, the robots were prone to making some stupid maneuvers because their programming required it. So, just a reminder that humans will always be better than machines, right? Right? That is what the Terminator franchise has been trying to tell us all these years, right? Right? Uh, so, did your expected champion win? Let me know in the comments down below. So that about wraps it up for what just might be the world's very first recorded zero-player game of Power Grid. Until I see you again on the channel, peace out and keep playing games, folks. But preferably play them with actual people.